She had 4 minutes to save $1 billion company. But nobody knew the girl pouring coffee was a genius in disguise. When she typed 4 lines of code that billionaires couldn't crack, she didn't just save his empire. She exposed a secret so dark it would shatter everything. He thought he was helping a waitress. He had no idea she was about to save his life, destroy a criminal, and steal his heart. This is the true story of how one act of courage changed 2 lives forever. And I promise you, you've never heard anything like this before. Stay with me. Welcome to Voice of Granny. While you are here, please hit the subscribe button and comment your view on the story and where you're watching from. Let me tell you about a girl named Emma, 24 years old, serving coffee in a small cafe in downtown Seattle. Every morning, she'd tie her hair back, put on that brown apron, and smile at customers who never really saw her. To them, she was just the coffee girl, the one who remembered their order, the one who always had a kind word. But here's what they didn't know. Emma had a degree in cybersecurity from one of the best universities in the country. She graduated top of her class. She had job offers waiting. She had a future so bright it could have blinded you. So why was she serving lattes instead of writing code? Because 3 years ago, her father was arrested. Professor Michael Carter, a brilliant computer scientist who dedicated his life to teaching and research. The FBI claimed he sold government secrets to foreign powers. They said he was a traitor. They locked him away in a maximum security prison, and the world forgot about him. But Emma knew the truth. Her father was innocent. Someone had framed him, stolen his work, and destroyed his name. And when they took him away, they took Emma's future too. No tech company would hire the daughter of a convicted cyber criminal. Her name was poison in the industry. So she changed it. Emma Carter became Emma Ross. She deleted her social media, moved to a new city, and disappeared into the shadows. She traded her dreams for safety. She traded her keyboard for a coffee machine. And every single day it broke her heart. Now, let me tell you about the man who walked into her cafe one rainy Tuesday morning. His name was Daniel Cross, and he was a very different kind of successful. While most tech billionaires wore hoodies and sneakers, Daniel wore tailored suits and an expression that said he carried the weight of the world. At 33, he'd built Cross Entertainment into a streaming empire that rivaled Netflix. Movies, shows, music. If you watched it, Daniel probably owned a piece of it. He came into Emma's cafe every morning at 7. Black coffee, no sugar. He'd sit in the corner booth, working on his laptop, making calls that decided the fate of millions of dollars. He never really noticed her. Why would he? She was just the girl who poured his coffee. But Emma noticed him. She noticed the stress lines around his eyes, the way his jaw clenched when he read certain emails, the fact that lately, his hands shook slightly when he held his phone. On this particular Tuesday, Daniel looked worse than usual. His eyes were red. His normally perfect hair was messy. And when Emma brought his coffee, she noticed something on his laptop screen before he quickly minimized it. Code. Lines and lines of programming code. And it was wrong. So terribly wrong. Emma's brain, that brilliant mind she'd been hiding for 3 years, couldn't help but notice. She saw the error immediately. A recursive loop that would crash the entire system. She saw it as clearly as if someone had written it on the wall. "Your coffee, sir," she said softly, setting down the cup. "Thanks," Daniel muttered, not looking up. Emma walked away, but she couldn't stop thinking about that code. Her hands trembled as she wiped down the counter. Her mind was screaming at her to go back, to say something, to help. But helping meant being seen. Being seen meant questions. Questions meant discovery. And discovery meant losing the only safe life she had left. 2 hours later, Daniel was still there. And he looked like he was about to cry. His phone kept ringing. He kept declining the calls. His laptop screen showed error messages in angry red text. Emma made her decision. She walked over with a fresh pot of coffee. "Refill?" she asked gently. "I don't need more coffee," Daniel said, his voice tight. "I need a miracle." Emma hesitated. Then very quietly she said, line 47. "You have a variable calling itself. It's creating an infinite loop." Daniel's head snapped up. He stared at her like she'd just spoken in a foreign language. "What did you say?" "Your code," Emma said, her heart pounding. "The error isn't in your security protocol. It's in line 47. You define the variable twice with different data types. The system doesn't know which one to use, so it keeps asking itself the same question forever." Daniel's eyes went wide. He looked at his screen. He scrolled to line 47. His face went pale. How could you possibly? He stood up so fast his chair scraped loudly against the floor. Who are you? I'm just a waitress, Emma said, backing away. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have looked. I shouldn't have said anything. No, wait. Daniel grabbed his laptop and spun it toward her. If you can see the problem, can you fix it? Emma looked at the cafe. Her boss was in the back. The other customers weren't paying attention. She looked at Daniel's desperate face. She looked at the code that was so obviously broken. I can't, she whispered. I'm sorry. She turned to walk away. Please. Daniel's voice cracked. I have a product launch in 6 hours. If this system fails, I lose everything. 2,000 employees lose their jobs. 5 years of work goes down the drain. I'm begging you. Emma stopped. She closed her eyes. She thought about her father sitting in a prison cell for a crime he didn't commit. She thought about hiding, about being invisible, about wasting her gift. And then she thought, what if I could be someone who helps instead of someone who hides? Give me 5 minutes, she said. Daniel Cross had no idea that those 5 minutes would change both of their lives forever. Emma's fingers flew across the keyboard like she was playing a piano. Daniel stood behind her, watching in absolute shock as this cafe waitress rewrote code that his team of 50 engineers couldn't fix. She didn't just patch the error. She rebuilt the entire architecture. She found 3 other problems Daniel's team hadn't even noticed yet. She optimized the system so it would run 30% faster. And she did it all in 4 minutes and 17 seconds. When she hit the final enter key, the error messages disappeared. The screen turned green. The system hummed to life, perfect and clean. Daniel stared at the screen, then at Emma, then back at the screen. Who are you? He asked again, his voice barely above a whisper. Emma closed the laptop and stepped back, her hands shaking. I'm nobody. Please forget this happened. Nobody. Daniel laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. It was the laugh of a man who'd just discovered something impossible. I have engineers with PhDs from MIT who couldn't solve that problem. I've been working on it for 3 weeks. And you fixed it in 4 minutes. I really need to get back to work, Emma said, glancing nervously at the counter. I'll buy the cafe, Daniel said suddenly. What? I'll buy this entire cafe right now. Just tell me who you are and why you're serving coffee when you could be changing the world. Emma felt tears burning in her eyes. Because the world doesn't want people like me. Something in her voice made Daniel go quiet. He studied her face, really looked at her for the first time. He saw the intelligence in her eyes. The pain. The fear. Come work for me, he said softly. Name your price. Any salary you want. I'll make you Chief Technology Officer today. I can't. Why not? Because I'm hiding, Emma said, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. And if I stop hiding, they'll find me. And if they find me, I lose everything. Before Daniel could respond, Emma's boss called from the back. Emma, we need you in the kitchen. Emma practically ran away, leaving Daniel standing alone with his laptop and 1,000 questions. But Daniel Cross didn't become a billionaire by letting opportunities slip away. That evening, after Emma's shift ended, he was waiting outside the cafe. He was leaning against a sleek black car, hands in his pockets, looking patient. I'm not stalking you, he said when Emma froze on the sidewalk. I'm making you a business proposal. I already said no, Emma replied, pulling her jacket tighter. You said you're hiding, which means you have a reason to hide, which means someone hurt you. Daniel stepped closer, his expression serious. I'm good at fixing problems, Emma. That's what I do. Let me help you. You don't even know my real name, Emma said quietly. Then tell me. The rain started falling again, soft and steady. Emma stood there on the sidewalk, watching the water pool around her worn-out sneakers. She was so tired of being afraid, so tired of being small. Emma Carter, she said finally. My real name is Emma Carter. My father is Michael Carter. Maybe you've heard of him. Daniel's face changed. Recognition flickered in his eyes. The professor who was arrested for espionage? He didn't do it, Emma said fiercely. Someone framed him. They stole his work and destroyed his life. And because I'm his daughter, I became invisible. No one would hire me. Everyone assumed I was guilty too. But you're not. No, I'm not. I'm just someone who loves code and lost everything because of someone else's greed. Emma wiped rain from her face. So now you know. And now you'll walk away, just like everyone else did. Daniel was quiet for a long moment. Then he said something Emma never expected. I believe you. Emma's head snapped up. What? I believe you, Daniel repeated. And I believe your father. Want to know why? Why? Because the code you wrote today was brilliant. It was elegant. It was honest. Daniel smiled slightly. Bad people don't write honest code. They write clever traps and hidden backdoors. What you wrote was pure. You were trying to help, not hurt. Emma felt something crack open in her chest. Something that had been frozen for 3 years. It felt like hope, and it terrified her. I have a problem, Emma, Daniel continued. A big one. And I think you're the only person who can help me solve it. What kind of problem? Someone is trying to sabotage my company. For the past 3 months, we've had system failures, data breaches, corrupted files. My team can't find the source. We've spent millions on security firms, and they've found nothing. He paused. That code you fixed today? That wasn't an accident. Someone planted that error deliberately. Emma's mind immediately went to work. You're being attacked from the inside. Someone with access. That's what I think. But I can't prove it. And if I can't stop it, my company crashes. The product launch tomorrow is our last chance. Why are you telling me this? Because you see things other people miss. Because you're brilliant. And because, Daniel hesitated. Because 3 years ago, your father's code was stolen and used to frame him. The same pattern, Emma. Stolen work, planted evidence, a brilliant person destroyed. Emma's blood ran cold. You think whoever framed my father is coming after you? I think someone is very good at stealing from geniuses and making it look like a crime. And I think you and I need to stop them before they destroy another life. The rain fell harder. Emma looked at Daniel, this billionaire who believed her, who saw her, who was offering her a chance to fight back. If I help you, Emma said slowly, I need something in return. Anything. I need access to your security systems. I need to find proof of who framed my father. Because if someone's using the same methods, maybe I can finally clear his name. Daniel extended his hand. Deal. Welcome to Cross Entertainment, Emma Carter. Let's catch a criminal. Emma shook his hand, and in that moment, she stopped being invisible. The hunt had begun. Daniel's headquarters wasn't what Emma expected. She'd imagined cold corporate towers and security checkpoints. Instead, he brought her to a converted warehouse in the arts district. Inside, it was all exposed brick, warm lighting, and creative chaos. This was where Daniel's team built the future of entertainment. This is the nerve center, Daniel explained, leading her through corridors lined with movie posters and gold records. Everyone here is working on tomorrow's product launch. We're unveiling a new streaming platform that uses AI to create personalized content for every single user. It's revolutionary. It's worth billions. And someone wants it to fail, Emma said, understanding the stakes. Not just fail. I think someone wants to steal it and destroy me in the process. Daniel stopped at a secure door. Only 5 people have access to the core system. Me, my Chief Operating Officer Victor Blake, my lead programmer Hannah Price, my head of security James Winter, and my business partner Rita Flores. One of them is the traitor, Emma said quietly. One of them is ruining me. And I need to know which one. He pressed his palm to the scanner. The door opened. Welcome to the war room. The room was breathtaking. Wall-to-wall screens displayed lines of code, user analytics, and system monitors. 3 engineers worked at stations, barely noticing their entrance. This was the brain of Cross Entertainment. Daniel led Emma to a private terminal in the corner. This is yours. Full access. Find the ghost, Emma. For the next 8 hours, Emma dove into the system like a deep-sea explorer. She traced every login, every file modification, every suspicious pattern. Daniel brought her food she didn't eat and coffee she forgot to drink. She was in her element, doing what she was born to do. And then she found it. Daniel, she called out, her voice tight. Come look at this. He rushed over. Emma pointed at the screen. See this code? It's a time bomb. Set to detonate tomorrow at exactly 2 p.m., right in the middle of your product launch. When it goes off, it'll corrupt every user account in the system. Millions of people will lose their data. Your company will be sued into oblivion. Daniel went pale. Can you disarm it? I can. But that's not the scary part. Emma pulled up another window. Look at the coding style. The way the variables are named. The structure of the logic. Daniel leaned closer. His frown deepened. This looks familiar. It should. It's called the prime weave architecture. Only one person ever coded this way. Emma's voice shook. My father. This is his signature technique. The room felt suddenly cold. But your father is in prison, Daniel said slowly. Exactly. Someone stole his methods. Someone who had access to his research before he was arrested. Emma's hands clenched into fists. The same person who framed him is now framing you, using his own work against both of you. Who has that kind of access? Emma started typing furiously. I'm tracing the original source code, where it was uploaded from, when, and by whom. If I can find the digital fingerprint. She stopped. The blood drained from her face. What? What is it? The code was uploaded from your business partner's terminal. Rita Flores. Daniel stumbled back like he'd been punched. No, Rita and I built this company together. She's my oldest friend. She was at my father's funeral. She's like family. Family can betray you, Emma said softly, thinking of all the people who'd abandoned her father. Especially when there's money involved. Daniel pulled out his phone with shaking hands. He pulled up financial records. His face went from pale to gray. She's been shorting our stock. If the company crashes tomorrow, she'll make, oh God, she'll make $400 million. Money is always the motive, Emma said. She pulled up more files. Look, 3 years ago, Rita attended a tech conference where my father was speaking. She had access to his research papers. She could have stolen the PrimeWeave code then, used it for something illegal, and framed my father to cover her tracks. And now she's doing it again. To me. Daniel sat down heavily. I trusted her with everything. Emma felt a surge of emotion. Not just for Daniel, but for herself, for her father, for everyone who'd been betrayed by someone they loved. We're going to stop her. And we're going to prove what she did. How? If we accuse her without proof, she'll destroy the evidence and disappear. We don't accuse her. Emma's eyes gleamed with determination. We trap her. Tomorrow at the product launch, we let the bomb detonate. But before it does, we redirect it. Make it look like the attack is succeeding, when really we're recording every move she makes. She'll log in to watch it happen, and when she does, we'll have our proof. That's incredibly risky, but it's the only way to catch her in the act. To prove what she did to you and to my father. Emma looked at Daniel. Do you trust me? Daniel met her eyes. This young woman he'd met just yesterday in a cafe. This hidden genius who'd saved him once already. I trust you, Emma. They worked through the night, building the trap. Emma wrote code that was part shield, part snare. It would look like the system was failing, but in reality, every piece of data would be protected and every action would be recorded. As dawn broke over Seattle, Emma and Daniel sat exhausted but ready. The product launch was in 8 hours. Rita would make her move, and they would be waiting. Thank you, Daniel said quietly, for trusting me, for helping me, for being brave enough to come out of hiding. Thank you for seeing me, Emma replied, for believing me when no one else did. In that moment, something shifted between them. It wasn't just gratitude. It was recognition. Two people who understood what it meant to fight for what's right, even when the world was against them. The trap was set. Tomorrow would bring justice or ruin. They were about to find out which. The product launch was held in the grand ballroom of Seattle's most luxurious hotel. 2,000 people filled the room. Investors, journalists, celebrities, industry leaders. Everyone who mattered in the entertainment world was there to witness Daniel Cross unveil his revolutionary platform. Emma stood backstage, wearing clothes Daniel had bought her that morning. A simple black dress that made her look professional, capable. Not invisible. She had an earpiece connected to Daniel, and her laptop was linked to the main system. Can you hear me? Daniel's voice came through clearly. I hear you, Emma whispered back. All systems are ready. On stage, Daniel began his presentation. He was charismatic, confident, showing no sign of the terror Emma knew he felt. Behind him, a massive screen displayed the new platform, sleek, intuitive, revolutionary. This is the future of entertainment, Daniel told the crowd. Personalized content that learns what you love and creates it in real time. Movies that adapt to your mood. Music that understands your soul. This is Cross Infinity. The crowd applauded. Cameras flashed. And in the front row, Rita Flores sat with a proud smile, playing the part of the loyal business partner perfectly. Emma watched her through the backstage camera feed. Rita looked polished, professional, completely in control. She had no idea she was about to fall into a trap. 2 minutes, Emma whispered to Daniel through the earpiece. On stage, Daniel pressed a button. Let me show you how it works. We'll do a live demonstration. The screen behind him changed. It showed the platform loading, user accounts populating, the AI beginning to work. Everything looked perfect. Backstage, Emma watched her countdown timer. 1 minute. 30 seconds. Rita checked her phone. Emma saw it on the camera feed. Rita was waiting for something. 10 seconds. Emma held her breath. The bomb detonated. Instantly, the screen behind Daniel began to glitch. Error messages appeared. The demonstration froze. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Daniel played his part perfectly. He looked confused, then concerned, then panicked. There seems to be a technical difficulty. Give us just a moment. Behind the scenes, chaos erupted. Engineers rushed to terminals. People shouted. It looked like a complete disaster. But Emma wasn't panicking. She was watching Rita. Rita pulled out her phone again. She opened an app. Her fingers flew across the screen, and Emma saw it. Rita was logging into the system remotely, checking to see if her sabotage was working. Got you, Emma whispered. Every keystroke Rita made was being recorded. Every command she sent was being traced. Rita was so focused on watching her plan succeed that she didn't notice the digital net closing around her. Emma's fingers danced across her keyboard. She activated the second part of the trap. On the main screen, the errors suddenly stopped. The glitches disappeared. The demonstration resumed, perfect and smooth. Daniel's panic transformed into a confident smile. As I was saying, Cross Infinity is resilient, self-healing, and revolutionary. The crowd, thinking they'd witnessed an impressive recovery, applauded even louder than before. But Rita's face went white. Emma watched her on the camera feed. Rita's hands were shaking. She was typing frantically on her phone, trying to restart the attack, trying to understand why her bomb had failed. Daniel, she's trying again, Emma said through the earpiece. She's desperate. She's making mistakes. Can you trace her location? Already done. She's using the hotel Wi-Fi. Every command is being logged with her digital signature. Daniel wrapped up his presentation to thunderous applause. As people stood to congratulate him, he caught Rita's eye across the room. She tried to smile, but Emma could see the fear in her expression. Now, Emma said. Daniel nodded. He walked off stage, past the celebrating crowd, straight to where Rita stood. Rita, he said loudly enough that nearby people turned to look. We need to talk. About the code you just tried to execute from your phone. Rita's face went from white to red. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Because my security team has been monitoring all network activity, including yours. Daniel held up his phone, showing the logs Emma had sent him. Care to explain why you just attempted to crash my company's entire system? The room went silent. Everyone was staring now. That's ridiculous, Rita said, but her voice wavered. I was just checking email. You were executing a cyber attack using code stolen from Professor Michael Carter. The same code you used to frame him 3 years ago. Rita's face became a mask of rage. You can't prove anything. Actually, we can. Emma stepped out from backstage, holding her laptop. She connected it to a nearby screen. Lines of code appeared, alongside timestamps and IP addresses. This is the attack code. And this is the record of you uploading it yesterday. And this, she pulled up another file, is the original research paper from my father that you stole from the tech conference in 2022. The room erupted in whispers. Rita looked at Emma with pure hatred. Who the hell are you? I'm Emma Carter, Michael Carter's daughter, the man you destroyed. Emma's voice was steady, strong. You stole his work, used it to commit crimes, and let him rot in prison for something he didn't do. And then you tried to do the same thing to Daniel. Security guards were already moving toward Rita. She looked around wildly, realizing she was trapped. Why? Daniel asked, his voice breaking. We built this together, Rita. I trusted you. Because you were always the golden boy. Rita screamed. Everything handed to you. Your father's money, your connections, your success. I worked twice as hard and got half the credit. So I decided to take what should have been mine. By destroying innocent people? Emma said quietly. Rita lunged at Emma, but security grabbed her. As they dragged her away, she was screaming, cursing, fighting like a trapped animal. The room was in chaos, but Emma just stood there, feeling something she hadn't felt in 3 years. Relief. Justice. Freedom. Daniel walked over to her. Without a word, he pulled her into a hug. We did it, he whispered. We actually did it. Emma closed her eyes, letting the reality sink in. Her father would be free. The truth was finally out. She wasn't invisible anymore. 3 months later, Emma stood in front of a federal courthouse, watching her father walk down the steps as a free man. Michael Carter looked older, grayer, thinner. Prison had carved lines into his face that time couldn't erase. But when he saw Emma waiting at the bottom of the stairs, his face transformed. He looked young again. He looked alive. "Emma," he breathed, and then they were holding each other, crying on the courthouse steps while cameras flashed around them. "I'm so sorry," Emma sobbed. "I'm sorry it took so long." "You saved me," her father said, cupping her face in his hands. "You never gave up. You brilliant, brave, beautiful girl." Daniel stood a respectful distance away, giving them their moment. But Michael noticed him. "And you must be Daniel Cross, the man who believed my daughter when no one else would." Daniel stepped forward, shaking Michael's hand. "Your daughter saved my company, sir. And she's about to change the entire tech industry." Emma laughed through her tears. "Dad, I have so much to tell you." What Emma didn't mention was that Rita's arrest had uncovered a whole network of corporate espionage. Rita had been stealing code from researchers and framing them for years, making millions by shorting stocks and selling secrets. The FBI estimated she'd destroyed at least 15 careers and stolen over $1 billion. Michael Carter wasn't just exonerated. He was vindicated. Universities that had turned their backs on him now begged him to return. His research papers were being republished. His reputation was being restored. But Michael wasn't interested in going back. "I spent 3 years in a cell thinking about all the time I wasted," he told Emma over dinner that night. They were in Daniel's penthouse. Michael was staying there until he got back on his feet. "I don't want to teach anymore. I want to create. I want to work on projects that matter." "Then work with me," Daniel said, pouring wine. "I'm serious. I want to start a division focused on ethical AI. Technology that helps people, that protects privacy, that can't be weaponized by people like Rita. And I want you to lead it." Michael looked at Emma. She nodded, smiling. "Dad, you should do it. We could work together. Both of you? At Cross Entertainment." "Actually," Daniel said, looking a bit nervous, "I've been meaning to discuss something with both of you. I want Emma to be my chief technology officer. And Michael, I want you as director of research. Together, you'd build the most innovative tech division in the world." Emma's eyes went wide. "Daniel, that's incredible. You've earned it. Both of you. You took down a criminal empire, saved my company, and showed me what real integrity looks like." Daniel raised his glass. "So what do you say? Want to change the world with me?" Michael looked at his daughter. Emma looked at her father. And they both started laughing, that kind of laugh that comes when life gives you back everything you thought you'd lost. "Yes," they said together. Over the next few months, Emma stepped fully into her new role. She wasn't hiding anymore. She attended conferences, gave interviews, spoke at universities. She became known not as the daughter of a convicted criminal, but as one of the brightest minds in technology. People asked her constantly how it felt to go from serving coffee to running a tech empire. "I was always this person," Emma would answer. "I just had to find people who could see me." Her relationship with Daniel evolved too. They spent long hours working together, solving problems, building new systems. They understood each other in a way that went beyond words. They spoke in code, in ideas, in shared visions of what technology could be. One night, working late on a new security protocol, Daniel looked up from his screen and said, "I need to tell you something." Emma glanced over. "If it's about the firewall parameters, I already fixed them. It's not about work." Daniel stood up, walked around the desk, and sat on the edge of her workstation. "Emma, when I met you in that cafe, I saw a waitress who made good coffee. But you saw me. You saw that I was struggling, that I needed help, and you stepped out of the shadows to save me. Even though it terrified you. Even though it put you at risk. Daniel, let me finish. You're the bravest person I've ever met. You're brilliant and kind, and you see the world in ways that make me want to be better. And somewhere between the code and the chaos, I fell in love with you." Emma's breath caught. The room felt very small and very large at the same time. "I know it's complicated," Daniel continued. "I'm your boss. We work together. But I can't keep pretending that you're just my colleague when you're so much more than that." Emma stood up slowly. She looked at this man who had believed her when no one else would, who had fought beside her, who had given her back her voice. "It's not complicated," she said softly, "because I fell in love with you too. Somewhere between line 47 and justice." When Daniel kissed her, it felt like coming home. 6 months later, Cross Entertainment launched its new division, Carter Cross Technologies. Led by Emma Carter and her father, Michael, with full backing from CEO Daniel Cross. Their mission statement was simple: build technology that empowers people instead of exploiting them. Their first project was a free security system for small businesses, protecting them from the kind of corporate espionage that had nearly destroyed them both. Emma stood at the launch event, no longer wearing a cafe apron but a power suit. No longer invisible, but standing in the spotlight. Her father was beside her. Daniel was in the front row, watching her with pride and love. 3 years ago, I thought my life was over, Emma told the crowd. I thought hiding was the same as surviving. But I learned something important. Your gifts aren't meant to be hidden. Your voice isn't meant to be silenced. And sometimes, the person who serves you coffee might be the person who saves your life. The crowd applauded. Cameras flashed. But Emma was looking at Daniel. He mouthed 3 words. I'm so proud. Emma smiled, because she wasn't just proud of what she'd built. She was proud of who she'd become. The girl behind the coffee counter had stepped into the light, and she was never going back into the shadows again. Sometimes the people we overlook are the ones with the power to change everything. Never underestimate someone because of their job, their past, or their circumstances. Hidden talents are everywhere, waiting for someone brave enough to see them. And sometimes, you just need one person to believe in you to change your entire world.